often mistaken to be social creatures, and this is actually not true. This is often a mistake due to the fact that you will see them with their offspring. So the mom will stay with their offspring for the first 17 to 23 months of their life. After that, they'll leave. Easier. Oh, the mothers are solitude. So they don't actually, once the offspring leave, they stay by themselves. And the reason for this is totally practical. It's way easier to only care for yourself. If you're in a herd, you have to feed the whole herd. And if you just have to worry about yourself, it's much easier. Males, however, can be solitude, but they also might stay in a group of up to 3. So 41% of male cheetahs are solitude, 40% stay in a pair, and 19% stay in a trio. So there is some benefits to the males being in a trio, and this is that, or there's benefits to males being solitude, and this is that you only need enough to feed the one male. So again, with the female, is if you're only needing resources for one, it's incredibly more easy. The downside, however, is that it's harder to fend off their territory, which we'll talk about. They are very territorial, and only 5% of the males that are solitude even have a territory, so that's not very good for them. Males do cover a smaller range of land than females. This is because that there's a big risk for death. So if a male is on their territory, they should be good, but they won't venture very far because if they happen to come across another male's territory, they're going to be susceptible to death and injury, and that's no good. This is also the reason that the cheetah populations are almost double the amount of females as there are males. We talked about this is the reason I thought that the impala was like this. So the males, because they do wander onto other territories, they might get killed and then they die and there's less of them. Fighting is kind of uncommon within cheetahs. However, it happens with over territory and over mating with females. The males and females both mark their territory with their urine. Scat is not particularly used for that, so it's mostly urine. And the females will actually start to do that more with estrus. And so as they get closer to estrus or they're entering it, they'll start to pee more, and that'll have the ability for the males to find them. And fun fact, I think the Tommy gazelle was like this, but after a large rain, the estrus is more likely to come on. So the minimum age for cheetahs to produce offspring is 21 months, and they can have up to 18 months between the birth and when they can next reproduce. And the gestation period is only 90 to 95 days. The average litter is 3 to 4, and as I said, that litter will stay with the mom for 17 to 23 months, and then they'll leave. The females are the first to leave, and like their mothers, they'll stay in solitude. However, they do tend to stay closer to where they were raised. Males tend to go farther, so they will go quite far from where they were raised. Once alone, they need to fend for themselves and find their own food. For defense, so if they have another predator, they tend to look away, lie on their side, roll on their back, crouch with a wide mouth snarl, or a mock charge. So they have a lot of different ways that they kind of defend off a predator from even trying to get them. They also have a threat display, and this is going to be a stiff-legged approach with the head below their shoulders. So I have hunting dogs. You can almost think of it like when a dog points, it's kind of like that. The food that they often get is antelope, gazelle, black buck, the Tommy as well. And as we know, the cheetahs are one of the fastest mammals, so they will get up to 112 kilometers per hour, 70 miles per hour, but they can't run very far. They run up to 300 meters, and then they have to stop. So if they haven't got their prey in that time, they will not get it. This is because they're very susceptible to the heat, and they get a really high heart rate as well. So their heart rate will get up to 115 beats per minute, and that's why they need to stop. When they do attack, they go for an attack using their strong legs and go for the windpipe. And they'll eat about 14 kilograms of food per sitting. And one attack, depending on the size, they'll be okay for 2 to 5 days. So they won't need to attack anyone else in that period. And as we talked about with the Tommy gazelle, the way that the Tommy gazelle avoids the cheetah is the turning. So they're not very good at that. So you'll see if their predators make more than 4 turns by the time they can't get to them, they won't. So they're not going to do anything more than about 4 turns. 4 turns. They also like to stalk their predators. So they do have the speed, but if they can, they would prefer to get as close as possible and stay hidden. That way they don't have to go farther than that 300 meters. But don't let the hunting skills and speed confuse you, because they actually are quite timid creatures. They're scared of lions, which, of course, king of the jungle. They surrender their food to hyenas. So if there are hyenas around trying to take their food, they'll let them have it. And they're even timid of vultures, surprisingly. This is because the vultures tend to be around places where there are prey active, and they know that. And that is the cheetah.
Yeah, they're very, very susceptible to losing their prey to other predators. So also they don't like vultures, because as vultures come in, then other predators all know to look for vultures, and it sort of advertises the presence as well. Do you have any thoughts? So you mentioned that male cheetahs, as they get weaned, they get old enough and they disperse far away from where they were raised. Do you have any thoughts as to why they might do that?
I actually don't. I don't think I've read that. I think it was interesting because the females stay close, which tells me that there's no threats with doing that. But
Any other thoughts as
Does
to why
it
that
have
might
to
happen?
do with like we were saying, like the testosterone is higher in males, so they are more likely to do risky behavior and like take the risk of going farther and
I kind of thought that maybe it would be like typically in like clan animals, when that sort of things happens, like if the male moves away so that they can like take over new land, find something new. But since they're not clan animals, I think just like in general, maybe like finding a mate that isn't so closely related.
Yeah, I was saying to prevent genetic bottleneck.
Yep. It's a protection against inbreeding. So the females stay generally close-ish to where they were raised, and the males disperse much further to help with gene growth. A lot of animals.
Yeah. The other thing to add about the differences in the strength of cheetahs, I mean, they're kind of low on the totem pole of predators, and so everybody steals their food. So their strategy then is to eat their prey as fast as possible. A few years ago, I got to witness a cheetah mother track down a Thompson gazelle, kill it. I mean, it just came right in front of